Hey everyone, been a while since I've done a Steam Deck video, and I thought Path to Exile 2 would be a good one to start back with. So right off the bat, the game goes a bit blurry and smeary in a lot of situations, even with the lowest settings, as you'll see on the left here. And I have capped it down to the 30, just because it seems to bounce around there. It doesn't make sense to make it go any higher. But in the Decky plugin, the power tools, if you turn on your frequency limit around 14 to 1600, it kind of keeps it in that like 20 to 30 frames range, and it does go a little bit blurry sometimes, but nowhere near as often as just without it. And then as well in the performance settings, I set the frame limit to 30 frames and manual GPU clock to 1600 max. And yeah, so let me show you kind of how it looks here, and we'll get into it. Oh yeah, and also your camp is probably going to be the most intense area that you run around in for at least in the beginning. So yeah, so let me show you what's going on here with some combat. Alright, so here we go. So I figure waterways would be a good one to show you, since the water effects and everything like that too. Also, this build is not optimized at all, so just a heads up on that one. I just kind of wanted to show you like the kind of how chaotic it can get and how it can kind of hold stable, or at least somewhat hold stable. So we'll see here. Let's try to get some zombies on here and go from there. But yeah, so there are points in the map where it'll chug and it'll kind of stutter a bit, and that can cause issues. So be prepared to die a bit more if you're running on the Steam Deck as well. So I wouldn't do like hardcore mode or anything like that, where it's like permadeath is gonna just piss you off even more. But for the most part, it runs well. Like I said, I treat it mostly for map runs and just kind of gear runs for an hour or something like that. The battery again doesn't last that long, maybe an hour and a half if you really push it, but don't expect kind of much more out of it. Yeah, so I mean, it runs well. I'm trying to kind of run as many things on the screen as I can at one time here, and there were some other maps that had a bit more lag, like I forget what map it was called, but like the flower map and everything, where the purple flowers explode, and that seemed to go not really drop frames or go low frames, but become that more blurry version of the game. And so it was, again, enough to get through, but not the most enjoyable. And I haven't done any bosses yet, so I'm not too sure how those are gonna go, because they tend to be pretty chaotic. But yeah, if you're just kind of wanting to run it and get some gear, you got an hour to spare, and you just want to sit, on the couch or something like that and boot it up, it's running pretty well. But yeah, again, I would definitely say I prefer computer, of course, for games like this. And if you can, and I saw a lot of people saying too, like, oh, with controllers and that stuff, you're kind of limited to pretty much the classes you pick, like warrior and that stuff, because you're pretty much just aiming with your control sticks, whereas the Steam Deck does give you that option of the the pad as well, to be able to do mouse and keyboard. So yeah, I won't show too much here, and then I'll kind of go into the settings that I'm using for the mouse and keyboard as well. So you see, yeah, so it starts to go a bit blurry there, a bit smeared. And let's see if we can get out of that and go back to kind of looking good. And yeah, there we go. Okay. So yeah, you'll see like it'll bounce back and forth, and that's kind of the dip in between quality. But again, if this is what you got, and you want to play the game and enjoy it, it's definitely enjoyable, and you should have a good time. Just be prepared to die a lot more. That's all I have to say about this one. But yeah, it's all pretty fun. Let's get this guy here, and then I will show you the keyboard and mouse settings that I'm using for kind of the setup here. Also, I wish I could use the potions a little bit easier, just because I found using the directional pad, I kind of misclick sometimes, and there we go. Actually, I'm gonna grab that belt, and okay. So yeah, so we'll switch over to the settings here, so I'll show you what's going on. Okay, so for the control settings, I'm using the keyboard WASD and mouse, and then I'll show you the layout here. I'm not using the ABXY buttons as much just because I feel like I really need my thumbs to be on the button for this kind of stuff, and taking it off really kind of affects the gameplay. That's what I kind of save for the directional pad for using potions and everything. I wish I could use the back buttons more, but anyway. So yeah, so for the bumpers, I'm using like the Alt key, R1, Q key. The back buttons I use for the spells a lot mostly, and dodge rolling, just because those things I need to be using really quickly. Directional pad, the 1 and the 2, and then the I key for inventory over here. Triggers, I'm using the middle mouse click and the right mouse click for L2. Joysticks are normal, and trackpads, I'm using the left trackpad, so I'll tap that one to, zoom in, this one to zoom out. And the right one is, of course, left mouse click. And the left click is the control key. So like if I want to quick sell an item, I'll press down on this pad, and then I'll use the right pad to quick sell an item or input it into the, stash or inventory or something like that. So yeah, so I hope that helped you guys at least enjoy the game somewhat if this is all you got to run it on. And yeah, I'll try to do some more emulation videos. I kind of got some more going on that one too. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy, and see you later.